Africa is sinking deeper into an economic, social and political crisis, with unemployment and inequality at their peak. It's especially during these trying times that citizens look up to their leaders to draw inspiration and hope for a better future. The energy crisis is making it hard for the country's economy to grow. The instability in our country's municipalities makes service delivery hard to come by. And if the current situation is anything to go by, it seems as if the country has been unable to successfully grapple with the underlying structural problems causing its socio-economic instability. In the face in the face of all the issues facing the country, do we have the caliber of leaders capable of taking us out of the current crisis? To discuss this further, I'm joined by leadership expert, Professor Mazwe Majola. Professor Majola, thank you so much for your time this evening. So, strategic leadership. How would you characterize a good strategic approach towards leadership?
Yes, good evening, Anlie, and thank you very much. Well, a person who thinks strategically, it's someone who is able to craft a long-term plan, or rather long-term goals. And then in those goals, while you craft those goals, you anticipate the future. And we use the word anticipate because you can't predict, because we live in a volatile and uncertain and unpredictable world. So it's someone who will be able to say, when things are happening like this is how we will do things. So this is a leader who will be more proactive, not reactive. Someone who will want leave things to happen before he acts. Someone who will make sure that even before things happen, at least there are some measures to assist or to arrest any eventuality. So that is a kind of a leader. It's a rare quality, but it's doable with experience and with will, with desire, and also with someone who wants to learn in terms of how things are done.
Some would say that planning isn't so much the problem, but implementation is a big problem in South Africa. We have great plans in place. Our leaders talk a good talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, very little actually happens. What role does implementation, in your view, play in strategic leadership?
It plays a critical role. Absolutely, I agree. In our country, we've got leaders who talk a lot, and there are no action. So we've got leaders who promise a lot without any delivery, and we've got good policies and plans. But unfortunately, we are where we are today in terms of our socio-economic situations and challenges, not because of our policies and not because of our plans, but because of our executions and our implementation. So we lack leaders who are implementers, leaders who are executors. We lack leaders who are servants and stewards, leaders who will know that when I'm given this role or this position, it's a position of privilege. It doesn't mean that I'm the smartest human being in the room. There are people who are better than me, but just the time that I've been afforded, or the opportunity being afforded to me, I must use it with everything I have to serve my people. So unfortunately, we don't, or rather, we don't have those leaders. We lack those leaders in our country. Leaders who are caring, who are authentic, who are empathetic, who understand and respect people. Unfortunately, we have leaders who are there for self-enrichment and self-interest and self-serving. So that's a main problem. That is why we are still having this problem, which is actually disgraceful. It's very deplorable that in 29 years into democracy, we are still talking about these astronomical levels of unemployment, inequality, poverty. Of course, yes, those, maybe someone might argue that those will be there, but there must be, I mean, whether eliminated or they must be reduced somehow. So in terms of improvement, we seem to be having stagnation and even retrogression, which is very, very disgraceful.
So I think the words that I'd like to lift out of that answer are servicing or serving the people versus serving their own interests. In a culture where I think the majority of South Africans may agree with you that the leadership in place serve themselves, their own interest, rather than serving the interest of the people. How do we change that?
We now need activists. We now need people who are not only going to be whinging and complaining, but people who will act. Obviously, one of the ways of dealing with that is through the ballot, through the vote. That when you go there, you know that what kind of a leader you want in your community, in your province, in your country. Are you going to vote for that leader? Are you going to say, with this, my vote, this is what I have. This is my weapon that I have that I can use. Can you be able to say, this is the kind of a person I'm going to vote, a person who is ethical, who's diligent, who's committed, a person who's caring, as I've said before, a person who will look after me as a citizen of this country, a person, once he has been voted in or elected, a person who won't forget where he's coming from in terms of serving the people that he should be serving, the people that voted or elected him or her to be there.
Talk to us about the underlying structural problems at the core of our failure to deal effectively with our socio-economic challenges.
I didn't get that, Andy. Sorry about that.
Apologies. I was asking if you could explain to us or tell us a little bit more about the underlying structural problems that lie at the core of our failure to deal effectively with our socio-economic challenges, those underlying issues that we just seem never to be able to address effectively, apart from leadership.
Well, the challenges that we have, the unemployment, the poverty, the crime, the inequality, and all those things. I'm just saying, you just need a leader with good intention, a leader who will get in there and say, this is what I'm going to do. I think the example that we've just seen recently is what Panyaza Lesufi has done in Gauteng. Panyaza took over, he came, and then he announced that I'm going to spend money with dealing with crime in Gauteng, and I'm going to create these what call wardens that will assist the police. And then he has done that. You know, you can see his intention. You can see that even though the resources are scarce, because we'll never have enough resources, but a leader will be able to juggle around and move things around and say, look, I'm going to take this from there and put it there. For now, I'm going to leave that department. All the departments are important, but we prioritize. You just target that thing that you want to work on. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about desire and that will of leaders who can just come and set that example and say within few months in office, what can you show people that really you've elected me, you've put me here, I don't need 5 years to act. Just few months, I can show you what I'm capable of doing. If you can give me more, I'll be able to do more. So you need those kinds of leaders. So can you imagine? And I'm not saying that he's perfect. There's no leader who's perfect, but I'm just saying the example that he has shown us recently since he has taken over. Because as I've said, that we don't want leaders who are promising things and they don't deliver, who are talking too much and they don't take action. We need leaders say something, I'm going to do this for you, and then we want to see that happen. And people will not forget that leader. People will always say, someone came and he did this, and then that is a kind of a person who will rely, because people, they just need someone they can rely on, they can depend on. That is what accountability means. That can we count on you as our leader? Can we depend on you that you will do what you say you will do? Can we rely on you that that you will serve us? That will lead us. So that's what we need from our leaders, from other provinces and also from in the whole country as well.
Professor Majola, as we observe Workers' Day, let's look at leadership in organised labour. What do you think of the leaders there? Because it's interesting to note that the higher up leaders get in the food chain, and as soon as they have access to a more lavish lifestyle, it seems that lavish lifestyle and that air of privilege is what is possibly one of the corrupting factors. So when we talk about leaders of the working class, do we see better examples of those attributes of strategic leadership?
I think leaders who are in the union sector, that's a question they must ask themselves is why pre-94 and even just after 94, you had so many people who were union leaders. These leaders were very they were there for their people, and people really, as I've spoken earlier on about dependency and reliability, that these leaders were very trustworthy and reliable. But what we have seen is that the more some of these leaders have acquired positions, whether in parliament or in business and other areas, and then you can see that they lose this this vigor that they had. We've just heard that the union membership has gone down. I think it's about 23%. So you can see that it's not that there are no workers. It's not that there are no people, but workers do not trust their leaders. It seems like someone would say, I'd rather fight my own fight. I'd rather go to my boss and just discuss my own salary and my own promotion and my own situation as a worker, instead of relying on someone else who's not servicing me. And that is obviously it's not a good thing for leaders who are leading union. And I know, obviously, there are men and women there who are very good, who are doing their utmost best. But unfortunately, you can see that things are not happening. Obviously, things are evolving. We must be fair. We cannot compare what used to happen in 1995, in 2005, and in 2023, because things are evolving. Even in the workplace dynamics, things are changing now. Maybe you do need even union leaders themselves to ask some questions and say, what are the new novel and innovative ways that we can do in terms of attracting, recruiting, and retaining our members? Because maybe the systems and the strategies they were using then maybe are no more applicable now, as we know that things have changed, obviously. So they need to adapt. They don't need to be rigid. They need to be flexible and see what other strategies they can use in terms of gaining more workers. But also they must service them. Because as I've said earlier on, that's what people want to, they really want from the leader. Service me. I want you to be my leader. Can I rely on you? Service me, and then I will follow you as my leader.
Thank you so much for your insights. That was Professor Mazwe Majola from the Worldwide Institute of Leadership and Development. And as we approach the 2024 general elections, the opportunity is ripe for those leaders to rise.